Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting of the Wayne Westland Board of Education to order. It is 7 p.m. on September the 13th, 2021. We're going to begin our meeting for the first time in, I think, about 20 months with the Pledge of Allegiance led by our students, as has been our practice many years. This evening, we have the students of Edison Elementary School here today. I'm going to introduce them in just a moment. And I'd like to first introduce their principal, Bennett Tyler. Mr. Tyler, thank you for being here tonight. The students are, and if you could stand once your name is called. And what I'd like you to do when you stand is come up here and stand in front of the room. Bella Burson, Carly McCollum, Charles Anasayu. Am I right, Charles? Can you help me with that, Charles? How would I properly say your last name? Anasahu? Anasahu. Do I have to jump when I say it? Or? That's good. Brian Strange, Samara Washington, and Mr. Dixon, right? Very good. Thank you, kids, for coming up. And we're going to begin with the pledge. Mr. Togo, if you could hold the microphone for them. Pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Now, students, I'd like you to stand right there, and Mr. Neal is going to talk a little bit about each one of you.
Yes, okay, first Bella. Who's Bella? Okay, Bella. Bella is a 5th grader at Edison Elementary. She is in Mrs. Brake's class. She lives with her mom and brothers. She loves to bake and is very artistic. When it's nice out, she loves to play outside. That's Bella. And Adam. Raise your hand. Adam is a 5th grader at Edison Elementary. He's in Mrs. Brown's class. Adam lives with his father and has 3 sisters named Autumn, Mackenzie, and Phoenix. He loves to watch and play football. His favorite team is the New York Giants. And next we have Carly. Carly? Oh, I see a hand. There we go. Carly is a 5th grader at Edison Elementary. She's in Mrs. Brown's class also. Carly lives with her mom and dad. She has 3 brothers and 1 sister. She also has a dog named Bella. Carly loves to dance and play softball, but also enjoys softball in the spring. At home, she likes to color and play. Her favorite color is purple, and she's going to be cheerleading soon. Charles, raise your hand. I'm going to try saying it Anyasohu. Okay.
Show off.
Yeah. He's a 5th grader at Edison Elementary. He's in Mrs. Brake's class. He lives with his mom, dad, sister, and baby bro. Charles enjoys playing video games, reading, and loves to ride his bike. Good job. And Brian, if you'd raise your hand, there you go. Brian is a 5th grader at Ellison Elementary. He's in Mrs. Cuevas' class. Brian lives with his mom and dad and has an older brother, Jeremy. He loves baseball and gaming. In the summer, he loves to go camping and swim. And Samaya. Raise your hand, Samaya. Samaya Washington is a 5th grader at Addison Elementary. She's in Mrs. Cuevas' class. She lives with her mom, and some of her favorite things to do are to paint and play games.
For each one of of you, I have an award thanking you for coming here tonight and leading us in the pledge. We're going to take a photograph of you in just a moment. Maybe you could hold your award like that. Wait. Brian. Charles. If you can move in a little bit, we don't care about this. We want to see you moving this a little bit. And can you move over here so we can be in the center? Will you take care of that?
Yeah, there you go. Everybody show me your awards. Great job. You just look at me, okay? All right, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, thank you, and to the parents that brought them here, thank you very much. I'm so glad to have them back in class. We probably got homework to do already, so if you want to leave before the end of the meeting, that's perfectly okay. Next item on our agenda this evening, 127.22, is the roll call. Mr. Neal?
Yes, Mr. Buckaloo,
Here.
Miss May,
Present.
Dr. Weaver,
Present.
I also am present, Miss Hines,
Present.
Mr. Albrecht,
Present.
and President Cox,
And I am also present.
all present.
Let's see here. Thank you. Next item on our agenda this evening, 128.22, is recognitions and presentations. And the first thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to recognize Dr. Dignan. As many of you know, Dr. Dignan came to the Wayne Westland Community School District at a time when we were wrestling with COVID, just the beginning stages of COVID. He's done an exceptional job for us. He's done double, maybe triple duty with us, but in addition to that, he also got his doctorate in his spare time. So he completed his educational specialist at Oakland University in 2018 and continued his studies for his doctorate at Madonna University, where he received his educational doctorate in July of this year. Can you imagine? What a schedule. After his defense of his dissertation. He's the first person to graduate from Madonna's educational program in educational leadership and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Dignan. Good job. Just an amazing accomplishment. Give me just a moment. No interruption at all. But we're not done there. On the 31st of August, the executive director of the Michigan Association of School Boards bestowed a very prestigious award upon Mr. Tom Buckaloo. Mr. Buckaloo, before I read this, I want to say that you've been just a great mentor to me and a great teacher of my kids, and I appreciate everything you've taught them and taught me. A total of 29 200 level classes, 1,383 credits. By the way, this is after he got educated. It's one of the highest honors that the Michigan Association of School Boards can award. It substantiates the level of dedication to this school district. The award, as I say, was presented by Mr. Don Watroba. Congratulations, Mr. Buckaloo, and thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cox. Appreciate it. And so do we, sir. And we're still not done. On that same day, our colleague, Mrs. Melody Hines, received the Michigan Association of School Boards Master Board Member Award of Recognition for her achievement in the completion of certification levels 1 through 3, 200 or 300 level classes, 368 education credits, and very few people ever achieve that particular level. Ms. Hines, congratulations, and thank you for your dedication to this school district.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And I don't know if it's fair, but you get jewelry. Mr. Buckaloo didn't get jewelry.
Thank you. Oh, wow.
Look at that.
That was
I'll give you
nice.
$10 for it.
Thank you. This is awesome.
And we're still not done. Mr. Dignan.
Yeah, I want to say good evening to the Community School Board. The board was recognized, the Wayne Westland Community School Board of Education was awarded the Michigan Association of School Board Standard of Excellence Board Award. This recognition is awarded to boards of education when all members have received the award merit. As you can see today, we collected all those. This award was presented to the board on August 31st, 2021, and I want to present this acknowledgement and plaque to Mr. Cox receiving on the board. Congratulations.
So this is what it looks like.
Okay.
So I guess we got a lot of work to do. Once it gets filled up, place it somewhere conspicuous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. We also want to acknowledge the United Way of Southeastern Michigan. They donated hundreds of backpacks to start the school year filled with supplies. So again, we were able to hand those out at the beginning of the year, so I just want to acknowledge them.
Thank you, sir. With that, we will move on to 129.22, which is citizens' comments on agenda items. To be clear, I know that there's people in the room that wish to discuss and address the board on issues that are not on tonight's agenda. There is an opportunity for you to do that after the board has completed its business. It's important for us to hear what you have to say. But this portion of the meeting is reserved for persons who wish to address the board on items which appear on tonight's agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on issues we're going to vote on tonight?
What are the issues that we're voting on?
They're contained in the agenda located on the table when you walk in.
Not related to masks or,
Oh, I figured that.
yeah, that would be in the second session.
Okay, seeing no one, we'll move past 129.22 to the consent agenda. 130.22, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Hines, support by Mr. Albrecht. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Ms. May,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
myself, yes. Ms. Hines,
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht,
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo,
Yes.
President Cox,
Yes,
7 yea.
thank you, Mr. Neal. 131.22, Dr. Weaver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Student number 2122A, whereas the Board of Education for Wayne Westland Community Schools convened on September 13th, 2021 to consider the petition for reinstatement filed on behalf of expelled student 2122A, and to consider the report and recommendation of the reinstatement committee previously appointed by the Board of Education. Whereas the Board of Education is persuaded for the reasons set forth in the reinstatement committee's report and recommendation that student 2122A should not be reinstated to the Wayne Westland Community Schools. Therefore, be it resolved that the reinstatement committee's report and recommendation is hereby adopted by the Board of Education, and that for the reasons stated therein, the petition for school reinstatement filed on behalf of student 2122A is hereby denied. Be it therefore, be it further resolved that the copy of this resolution will be provided to the student and parent.
The board has heard the resolution. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Albrecht, support.
Second.
Second by Dr. Weaver. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines?
No.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
President, oh, excuse me, not yet. Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
No.
And President Cox.
Yes.
5 yea, 2 nay, it carries.
Dr. Weaver.
Whereas the Board of Education for the Wayne Westland Community Schools convened on September 13th, 2021, to consider the petition for reinstatement filed on behalf of expelled student 2122A, and to consider the report and recommendation of the reinstatement committee previously appointed by the Board of Education. Whereas the Board of Education is persuaded, for the reasons set forth in the Reinstatement Committee's report and recommendation, that student 2122A should not be reinstated to the Wayne Westland Community Schools. Therefore, it is resolved that the Reinstatement Committee's report and recommendation is hereby adopted by the Board of Education, that for the reasons stated therein, the petition for school reinstatement filed on behalf of student 2122A is hereby approved.
You've heard the resolution. Is there a motion?
Point of order. I believe they should have read 2122B.
Yes, he is correct.
Yeah.
2122B,
All members of the board have the resolution before them.
yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Albrecht. Support?
Support.
Support by Dr. Weaver. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
And President Cox.
Yes.
7 yea.
Thank you. 133.22 is Board of Education Committee reports, Finance Committee report. Treasurer May.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. The meeting was called to convene at 4:36 p.m. Mr. Spizak presented 3 items to the committee: the purchase of salt in preparation for the winter, the purchase of stools for John Glenn science classrooms, and a change order for the strength and conditioning rooms at Wayne Memorial. Mrs. Cleave shared both the investment report and monthly check register. Dr. Dignan thanked both the custodial staff and the construction teams for their hard work. He also shared additional partnerships that have been formed to provide support and services to our district community. Mr. Buckaloo and Ms. May thanked the staff for their efforts and hard work. The meeting was adjourned at 4:47 p.m. The next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for October 5th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. May. Next item on our agenda, 134.22, is the review and approval of business, service, and finance items. Ms. Cleaves.
Yes, I have a recommendation to purchase road salt. I am requesting board approval to purchase a planned quantity of 700 tons of road salt. The 700 tons will be purchased throughout the winter season at a rate of $43.58 per ton, for a total cost of $30,506. This seasonal backup total is $4,508 less than the 2021 rate. The salt will be funded through the Maintenance and Operations Department General Fund budget.
Thank you, Ms. Cleaves. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weaver, support.
Support.
Support by Ms. May. Discussion?
Quick discussion.
Ms. Hines?
Due to COVID, I know we've been kind of shut down for a couple of years. Do we still have salt in reserves from the last time we purchased salt before everything got shut down?
I can.
If you can answer that,
I
Ms.
can.
May.
I asked the same question in finance, so
Okay.
we do.
Okay.
For Mr. Spizak, yes, but we are obligated to purchase so much each year, so that's why this is coming.
Where are you putting it? That's Tony's job.
Yeah, he has a spot. I can't remember what he said, but.
Further discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. President Cox.
I vote yes.
7 yea.
Thank you, Ms. Cleaves. The Wayne Memorial.
Yes, I have a recommendation to approve a change order for bid pack 2 for the weight room renovations. I am requesting board approval to issue a change order to an existing contract with Shoreview Electric Company. This change order is for the electrical upgrades needed in the weight room at Wayne Memorial High School. If approved, the cost for the change order will not exceed $73,989.46 and will be charged to the Wayne Memorial Bond Contingency account.
Thank you, Ms. Cleaves. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Dr. Weaver, support by Ms. Hines. Discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines?
Yes.
And President Cox.
I vote yes. Thank you. Ms. Cleaves, John Glenn.
Yes, I have a recommendation to purchase John Glenn High School furnishings. I'm requesting board approval to purchase furnishings for John Glenn High School science rooms from KI. Pricing for these items will be achieved through a consortium contract, and if approved, the amount is not to exceed $39,752.50. This will be charged to the bond furniture allotment for the high schools.
Thank you, Ms. Cleaves. Is there a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by Mr. Albrecht, support by Ms.
Support.
Hines. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
President Cox.
I vote yes.
7 yea.
We got off pretty cheap tonight, Ms. Cleaves. Next item on our agenda is 135.22, which is the review and approval of human resource items. Ms. Simmons.
Hi, thank you, Mr. President. Tonight I have 4 administrative appointments for the board to review and approve. The first is for our Executive Director of College and Career Readiness and Social Emotional Learning. I'd like to recommend for review and approval Mr. Darrell Beebe. If you turn to page 23 of your board packet, you'll see that he possesses a Bachelor's of Arts in Criminal Justice and Music from Kentucky State University, a Master's of Education in School Counseling from the University of Cincinnati, as well as a Master's of Arts in Community Counseling from the University of Cincinnati. He has served previously as an assistant principal at the University of Detroit Jesuit High School and Academy, a counselor for Berkeley High School, and most recently as the Director of Student Support Network and Stakeholder Engagement in Southfield Public Schools.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons. Is there a motion? And Mr. Beebe. Moved by Dr. Weaver, support.
Support.
Support by Ms. Hines. Is there discussion? Mr. Beebe, are you here this evening? We're gonna vote, you don't have to get up, sir, I just, I think we're probably gonna approve you, but I just wanted to say criminal justice and music, huh? No further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
President Cox.
An enthusiastic yes. Will you get up and say hi to us for just a moment, sir?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you all so much. I'm so excited for this opportunity and this position. First of all, to the Board President Cox, to all the board members, to the Wayne Westland Community Schools community. Once again, I'm just honored for this opportunity, and I look forward to serving both the educators, the administrators, the families throughout this community. So I'm super excited and ready to hit the ground running.
We're happy to have you, sir. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
choosing us. Ms. Simmons?
The second administrative appointment of this evening is for our Director of Secondary Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Adrian Nathan. If you turn to page 24 of your packet, you'll find her data sheet. She possesses a Bachelor of Arts in English and Psychology from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, as well as a Master's of Science in Educational Leadership from Concordia University. She has served as the department head and teacher for Romulus Community Schools, an educational improvement consultant for Wayne County Regional Education Service Agency, and most recently as the Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Accountability in Westwood Community Schools.
Is there a motion? Ms. Adrian Nathan?
So moved.
Moved by
Support.
Mr. Albrecht, support by Ms. Hines. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
President Cox?
Excited to vote yes.
7 yea.
Congratulations, Ms. Nathan. Would you like to come up and say hello?
Yes, I would like to say hello. Good evening, everyone. President Cox, distinguished board members, Superintendent Dignan, my new colleagues, and all of Wayne Westland family, thank you for approving me to come home. So I just wanted to say very quickly that I am very connected to Wayne Westland. I am a proud Wayne Memorial graduate by way of Stevenson and Schweitzer and David Hicks. So, and I'm also a proud parent of 3 Wayne Westland students. So thank you for welcoming me home. And I look forward to being here. So
You're-
thank you, and I'll see you
You're
around.
almost paying your own way with 3 kids in school. Good job. And good job with Risa, too. We appreciated everything you did for us while you were there. Thank you so much. Glad to have you back. Ms. Simmons?
All right, thank you again, Mr. President. Our next appointment is for Human Resources Director, one of our own internal candidates, Ms. Julie Rogers. If you turn to page 25, you will find her data sheet. She possesses a Bachelor of Science and Engineering and Health Education from Central Michigan University, a Bachelor of Science in Public Health and Substance Abuse from Central Michigan as well, a Master's in the Art of Teaching from Mary Grove College, and an Education Specialist in School Administration and Supervision from Wayne State University. She has been in Wayne Westland. She started as a teacher in 1997 and is most recently serving as an assistant principal at John Glenn High School.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weaver, support by Ms. Hines. Is there discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
President Cox?
Ms. Rogers, congratulations, yes. Congratulations on your other promotions. How many have you had?
Thank you, Board President. Thank you, Board of Education, Dr. Dignan, Executive Cabinet. I'm super excited for the opportunity to start as Human Resources Director. I've been in the district a long time. I've been at John Glenn. It was a difficult decision to leave my kids and my staff, but I'm really excited for the opportunity to hire and bring in the next generation into the Wayne Westland family. So really excited.
We're
Thank
so
you.
glad that you decided to, because we need you in this role. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
One more.
Ms. Simmons, thank you. I had to get back to my,
Our last appointment of this evening is for our William D. Ford Career Technical Center Principal, Ms. Jacinda Samara. Her data sheet can be found on page 26. She possesses a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Arts and Public Service from Albion College, a Master of Arts in Curriculum and Instruction from the University of Detroit Mercy, and an Education Specialist in Education Administration and Instructional Systems from Wayne State University. She has been a curriculum coordinator in South Lake Schools, a supervisor in instructional technology and curriculum, also in South Lake Schools, a manager in educational technology in Oakland Schools, as well as a consultant in instructional technology and a senior consultant, workplace innovation and career readiness in Oakland Schools. Most recently, she served as a director of post-secondary career planning and community partnerships in Southfield Public Schools.
thank you, Ms. Simmons. Is there a motion on Jacinda Samara?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Albrecht, support by Ms. Hines. Discussion? Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo?
Yes.
Ms. May?
Yes.
Dr. Weaver?
Yes.
Myself, yes. President Cox?
Absolutely, yes.
7 yea.
Congratulations. Jacinda,
Hello, President Cox, Board, Dr. Dignan, feels weird to say that, and Wayne Westland community. I'm so excited to be here and to move and work with our teams to make future-ready students. I'm just going to stop there because the work that we're about to do is going to speak for itself.
you have just a tremendous background and a tremendous opportunity in that VOTEC Center. it must be exciting for you. It's certainly exciting for us. We expect great things out of it. Congratulations. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you.
Okay. I know there's more work to do if I could just find it. Okay, the next item on our agenda is 136.22, which is, well, I'll give this to Dr. Dignan.
Yeah, we resolved that board approval to name the William D. Ford Career Technical Center banquet facility to Dr. Gregory Barrissey. It will be called the Dr. Gregory J. Barrissey Banquet Facility. So I just wanted to, Dr. Barrissey served Wayne Westland Community Schools for a very long time, and we're excited to have him bestow this honor upon him, and we plan to do something in October over at the facility to kind of honor him at that time.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Weaver. Support? Support by Ms. Hines. Is there discussion?
Through the chair.
Mr. Albrecht.
Dr. Barrissey was with this district from birth. He was born in Norwayne, attended elementary school, middle school, high school. And other than his time, I may be off by about a year, but other than his time at the University of Michigan, he was employed in Wayne Westland schools for 40 years. I think it's fitting that we name the facility after him. And William D. Ford was special to him.
Further discussion? I'd like to say that Dr. Barrissey is the longest-serving superintendent in our school district, 17 years. In fact, I was one of the members of the Board of Education that first placed him in the superintendency. It was one of the first things I did, I don't know, 20-some years ago. All throughout his entire career, he suffered with financial problems that the school district had as a consequence of the way the Headley Amendment went. Just to restate, when the Headley Amendment went into to effect, what it said was any school district that was getting X amount of money under the old formula won't lose any money at all under the new formula. The state was going to make it right. But because of just a timing issue, we lost overnight millions of dollars and never got it back. Our school district, probably over the course of all of those years, I tried to calculate it one time, it was in the many hundreds of millions of dollars. And all that while, this superintendent fought with Lansing for funding. I know him, we're personal friends, and he's doing a lot of fly fishing these days, and he's very happy that the school district is in the financial condition that it's in today. And as the superintendent, Dr. Dignan, said, a fitting tribute for his many years of service. So, roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal.
Mr. Albrecht.
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Ms. May.
Yes.
Dr. Weaver.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines.
Yes.
President Cox.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. 137.22 on our agenda is the designation of delegates for the Michigan Association of School Boards Delegate Assembly. Mr. Buckaloo. Dr. Weaver, you had your hand up?
I did, but
Go ahead.
it had nothing to do with you.
Did you call on me for? I'm calling on you because you're the big award winner tonight, you and Ms. Hines.
And you would like me to be a delegate?
I would like you to
I'll
be a
make that
delegate.
motion.
Motion by Albrecht.
Support?
Thank you. Actually, there's enough room for all of us to be delegates.
Well, we have to have an official delegate,
All right,
and I was gonna pick on somebody else here on the board in just a minute.
we're entitled to 4.
Okay? You'll accept that?
Absolutely.
And I'll accept it.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Okay, motion by Albrecht. Will you amend your motion to include Ms. Hines
I
as
would
an
do
alternate?
that.
Okay, motion by Albrecht. Buckaloo.
Oh, Weaver wants on to.
Dr. Weaver? You change your mind, huh?
No,
Are you,
I'm in trouble with my left hand.
okay. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Neal?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
Ms. May.
Yes.
Dr. Weaver.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Hines.
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht.
Yes.
President Cox.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Buckaloo, and thank you, Ms. Hines. 138.22 is the superintendent's reports and comments. Dr. Dignan.
Excuse me,
Mr. Buckaloo?
yes, we need to appoint 4 delegates.
We need to appoint 4
4, and we can also appoint up to 3
alternates?
alternates.
Oh, okay. Ms. May?
Support.
Ms. May, would you like to go?
Sure.
Okay.
I
Mr.
support that.
Dr. Weaver? We can all go, right? But someone's going to be made to go. So, all right. Dr. Weaver, will you go?
Yeah.
Mr. Albrecht, will you
I'll
amend your
support that,
motion?
too.
Okay. Will you amend your support, Ms. Hines?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Ms. May,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
myself, yes. Ms. Hines,
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht.
Yes.
Mr. Buckaloo.
Yes.
President Cox.
Yes. Congratulations. We got out of it this time.
Yeah. Go get time anyhow.
Dr. Dignan?
Thanks, President Cox. First off, I'd like to thank the Edison students for reciting the pledge this evening. I also want to congratulate Miss Nathan, Mr. Beebe, Miss Samara, and Miss Rogers for their position. We're so excited having them come aboard, and they're going to be great things coming out of the work that they do. So thank you. Probably the best thing is welcoming back our students. So many of our staff, custodians, paraprofessional, teachers, administrators have prepared so hard to get our kids back in in-person learning. As President Cox talked about, it's been 20 months, really. So it's great to see them back. The energy in the classroom in the schools is second to none, so we're grateful for that. I also want to talk and take a moment to discuss a unique time in our lives, one that most of us have never experienced. We all want this virus to go away, and again, we're going to still be marching forward the best of our abilities. I'd also like everybody to remember that a building doesn't make a school community, people make the school community. And I know by working together, we can make sure that Wayne Westland Community Schools remains a stable force and spark that all of our children need. So I also want to kind of jump down, and as you leave this evening, if you go in our parking lot, Nick Appleby in our communications department designed flags of our school on all the flagpoles. It looks great. One of our unsung heroes, Dave Mitich, hung them. Probably spent like the last 3 days doing it, and again with the winds and stuff, that can be dangerous. Probably the last thing I want to say is our Wayne Westland Foundation for the Improvement in Instruction, we've launched. And I want to introduce our new director, Lakina Horn-Durham, if you would stand up so you can be acknowledged. The foundation was created in the 80s to support the students of Wayne Westland Community Schools. Through staff contributions, the foundation has awarded hundreds of grants across the district for innovative projects that have a direct impact on student learning. I want to thank the executive board of the foundation, Ali Sahad, Marie Mitter, Carol Meidel, Tom Buckaloo, and Shanda Cleaves and Kim Markey, because without their work, we would have never launched this again. And again, just watching them over the course of last year, getting this back together has been monumental. So again, thank you to the board for all you do. Again, grant applications will be opening by the end of next week, so hopefully we'll get a lot of our staff to apply to do some innovative and creative things for our kids in the classroom. And on that note, I'll turn it over to you, President Cox.
Thank you, Dr. Dignan. Next item on our agenda this evening is the citizens' comments on non-agenda items. This is the portion of the meeting reserved for persons to address the board on items which are not on the agenda. Mr. Neal, yeah, you have some forms here. Will you call people in order?
Yes, I will. In the order that, and they're not in any particular order, but Katie Decker, you're top on the pile here.
Of course, it had to be me first. So my name's Katie Decker. I'm a resident of Westland. I've been living in Westland for 40 years. I have 2 children here. My son's a senior and my daughter's a 5th grader. My son is currently attending in person because it's his senior year. He wants to just graduate. He's been struggling since March 13th of last year. That's when everything shut down. That was the last day of school. My daughter, I did withdraw her. I chose to homeschool her, and I'm gonna continue homeschooling her until this is over with. Maybe even continue after that. But, so I just wanna, I guess, give a little bit about myself. I've been a healthcare worker for over 20 years. I'm trained in EMT and paramedic. I've worked in surgery for several years. I also worked in the ICU, CCU, step down. I have years of training with NIOSH, MIOSHA, and MDHS. As a requirement for my job in the hospital, I had to be trained on masks. I had to be trained with every year. I had to do annual follow-ups. And we had to learn, sorry, I have to read because I can't remember off the top of my head. So I had to learn about the different types of masks, when to wear them, how to wear them, you know, how to put them on, how to take them off, how to properly dispose. So for anything, I guess, so for anyone that claims anything less than an N95, which requires fit testing per OSHA, is providing adequate protection from a virus outside of a controlled environment, is clearly misinformed. Or maybe I've been trained improperly for the last 20 years. But, I mean, the virus is so small that, to put it in perspective, it's 4,000 times smaller than a single strand of hair. It's not gonna be protected by a mask. It's not. And this is from my training for OSHA. I guess I'll go on to the next thing. So another thing is too, with these mandates, I mean, reading that public health code, so Public Health Code 332453 and also 332253, which allows the director to issue orders during an epidemic that ensures the continuation of essential public health services. That's continuation. So social distancing, contact tracing, temperature checks, mask requirements, quarantining, all of that is not a continuation of essential public health services because none of these existed prior to COVID. It actually violates the equal protection laws, which is Section 1 of the 14th Amendment. Also, Article 14, Section 51 of the state constitution says that the state legislature can only make laws that are suitable. So if it violates the Constitution, then that makes it not suitable and it cannot be law. And also MCL 15151 of the public employees must uphold the U.S. and state Constitution. The purpose is to ensure that we, the people, have the ability to exercise our God-given liberties. So all of these mandates, they're a violation of our rights. And if anyone wants to wear a mask, that's their choice. I totally agree with that. I mean, it needs to be a choice. It shouldn't be a mandate, a requirement. It's against the Constitution. I mean, we have a Constitution for a reason. We have a Bill of Rights for a reason. And our founding fathers were pretty smart guys, actually. If you ever read the Constitution, they were pretty young, smart guys, actually. I believe they're all under the age of 30.
Ms. Decker, sorry to tell you your 3 minutes is up.
But that's fine, I'm done. I got to my point. I
Thank
think,
you,
but I
Ms.
appreciate
Decker.
it. Thank you.
So next we have Jessica Gable. Gable, I'm sorry. My sister's name is Gable, so I sort of lean towards that.
Good evening, Ms. Cole.
Hi. So as he said, I'm Jessica Gable. I have a she's hiding, sixth and third grader in the district. And you might remember me from the July board meeting when I spoke against the mask requirement. And it may seem redundant, but I'm here to speak on that matter again because I will continue to fight for my kids, whether it be speaking here every single month, sending email after email, railing at the health department, whatever I have to do. I'm still having a hard time figuring out why there's a mask mandate to begin with when a child survival rate is 99.99+%. In addition to that, there have been no cases of transmission from student to teacher. And the close contact quarantine, don't get me started on that because over 99% of students that are quarantined from close contact, like this one here, never get sick. They just miss out on their education instead. I got a call this morning after I took her to school to pick her up because she was exposed Friday by a close contact. As you can see, she's perfectly healthy. Amen. And she's gonna be out of school for a whole week missing her in-person education that we just got back to, which I think is sad. And then there's these awful masks. They're completely useless in preventing transmission of COVID, like Katie said. When my friend Elaine and I, she's here, were railing at the health department a couple weeks ago, we had the good fortune of actually running into an industrial hygienist who was working in the area. You know what an industrial hygienist is? Basically a mask expert. He said in order to even do his job safely, which includes cleaning out mold and asbestos, he has to be properly fitted in a respirator mask. It has to be sealed to his face, and he has to have a lung test to even be sure his lungs are fit to wear the respirator mask. This virus is an aerosol. These masks do not stop it. It's the equivalent of trying to keep ants out with a chain link fence. And these poor kids, they all look like zombies walking around. They have no facial expressions, and my kids still complain about breathing. My daughter had an assignment where they had to fill a paper bag with things about them, what they like, what they didn't like, etc. My daughter said that most kids had a mask in their bag for things they didn't like. How sad is that? Now, if someone wants to wear one, fine, that's their choice. But that's what we've been asking for, is a choice. A child should not be forced to wear something that hinders their breathing, covers their facial expressions, causes more harm than good. It's child abuse. And if you disagree, then I challenge you to go sit in my 8-year-old son's class on a 90-degree day for 7 to 8 hours in a mask. And let me know what you think. Or run 30 laps around a gym class with one on. When does this end? Because COVID's here to stay. You can't eradicate a respiratory virus, otherwise we wouldn't still have the flu. More kids have died from the flu in the 2018 to 2019 season than have died from COVID this entire year and a half, and we never masked for that before. The point is, we have no idea how long this prolonged masking is going to affect our children's physical and mental health. I know your response is going to be that your hands are tied because the health department will overreach a power. They're just politicians who have no real vested interest in keeping our children safe or healthy, because if they did, they would follow the actual science and data. There's a movement coming, and it's getting bigger every day, as you can see. It's more, if more school districts, parents, and even students fought back, this would end, and more are every day. This mandate is not law, and it's definitely not constitutional. So I'll keep fighting, even if it means you guys get sick of me.
Thank you, Mrs. Gable.
Lester, Mexico.
I just came here to support everybody else pretty much, but I mean, her fact of that it hinders their breathing when they're exercising. The CDC even says that kids under 5 and under should not be in mask. But what, the Wayne County Health Department can override the CDC? I mean, come on. I mean, there's been a study in Sweden. They have over 100,000 students. They said that, let me pull it up here, I'm sorry. I don't want to misquote anything. But pretty much they said that even teachers vaccinated and kids not wearing masks, there were 0 cases of teachers or kids catching the COVID because of them not wearing masks. And you guys have the power to fight the health department. Your guys' job is to protect our kids. You right there, you take your mask off when you talk and put it back on. Is that really doing anything?
Personally, I don't think the mask is doing anything at all, but that's just my opinion.
Exactly. So you guys have the power to fight our health department, so fight it.
Thank you, Mr. Mexico. I'll have some comments after everyone's had an opportunity to speak.
Next, we have Joy Kims. Or Kimmons.
I'm a grandmother that has grandchildren. I live in Wayne. I did occupational health nursing, where I did studies on masks in industry, where employees were exposed to lead dust. You can see lead dust with the naked eye. In fact, lead dust, as compared to the size of a virus, is 0.1 to 0.7 microns. And the coronavirus is 0.125. In fact, it actually says on the side of the box that this mask came in, it says not to be used for coronavirus. So it's pretty useless. In fact, there's studies out that believes that because of capillary action, which happens when a mask gets wet, that it acts as little straws almost and brings the virus into the mouth and nose. And they believe that because of that, that masks have actually helped transfer the virus to people. I know in Florida, they were real strict on masks, and that's when I got coronavirus, was when I was wearing a mask at a grocery store. Anyway, the CDC's own data shows there's no statistical reduction in school children wearing masks. The WHO, does not back children, especially young children, wearing masks. 99% wear cloth masks, and they're zero benefit. They're even worse than this. Long-term mask wearing has negative effects. When your kidneys, your lungs, even your skin, your liver, is always working to throw off toxic waste. When you're breathing out, that's toxic waste. That's something you don't want to breathe back in. When you put a mask on, and especially on a child, it's usually a dirty mask because they've touched it all day. They've been playing in it. They're not only breathing in their own toxic waste, but they're also breathing in the dirt and the filth that they've collected on that mask. And what we've done negatively to the children is we've supported the idea that they have to be afraid. We've transferred fear to them by constantly telling them that they've got to be careful, they've got to wash their hands, and they have to wear a mask all the time. If they don't, they might die. So I can't even imagine being a young child growing up in this fallacy. So anyway, food for thought, and somebody else had mentioned this too. 2,300 years ago, the Arabians found out that they could subdue and take away the individuality of their slaves and control them better if they covered their mouth and nose. And that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Emery, please.
How we doing tonight, guys? I was
Hello,
going to say a
Mr.
lot,
Emery.
these guys are covering it all. I guess my answer, what I got to say is no. We don't want your co-parenting. We don't want your medical advice. We don't want our children wearing masks. It's pretty plain and simple. If this isn't the board that's going to help us, you need to resign and we'll get the right people in. It's plain and simple. That's it.
Renee Bergeron.
Good evening. My letter's a little more personal. I don't have much of the scientific data. I just want to give you my opinion. My name's Renee Bergeron. I have a senior and a sophomore at John Glenn High School. I'm here today to discuss the mask mandate. I'd like for you to imagine being told by your supervisor that you have to carry an umbrella around for 8 hours a day, just in case it rains, even though that rain would only get you wet and you'd most certainly dry. The authority figure is not even sure if it's gonna rain, but just in case. Oh, by the way, you do get 30 minutes a day where you don't have to carry that umbrella around, even though the rain could still get you at that time too. And after carrying that ridiculous umbrella around for 8 hours, you can go and do whatever you want in the real world, even though it might rain there too. This is the most insane idea, but that's what we're making our kids do. Wear a mask because you might get COVID, or you might not, we don't know. Our kids have so many hurdles in school. They have a school that doesn't have air conditioning or heat in many areas of the building. There's the bullies, there's the teachers that don't seem to care. There's the counselors that tell you they can't talk to you about your kid that is in an AP class because they're dealing with the kids that are failing. A school where more than half the sports teams have a losing record. The test scores are definitely lacking. And to top all of that off, wear a mask to school. And for what? To maybe get some extra funding? Well, guess what? You're gonna lose kids when parents start to stand up and pull their kids from this failing district. It's disheartening to watch school board meetings on YouTube and see the response when parents speak. Maybe this is just a job for you, but for us, these are our kids. They are our world, and they deserve people who will speak up for them on their behalf. If the science isn't there, and it's not, there should be no mask mandate. I see the positive numbers for Wayne County, and as an educated person, they mean nothing to me. We have been told from the beginning that a COVID test can result in a positive if you had it within the last 90 days. The kids that test positive today could have had it 30 to 90 days ago and not even known they had it. You don't know my kids, you don't know their names, you don't know their favorite colors, you weren't there for the first haircut, their first fall, their first heartbreak. You think you have the right to tell me what is the best decision for my kids. My kids are 17 and 15, and they are exceptional kids. My kids and I have been able to make it this far, my husband and I have been able to make it this far without any input from the government about what is best for our kids. This is the first step in my fight for this mandate. I will escalate it, I will be heard, because you can't unhear what's been said here today. In closing, my question for the board is, when will the mandate be reviewed for changes? Is it weekly, monthly, or for the rest of the year?
Thank you, Mayor.
Jennifer Lockhart?
I just want to let you all know that I have a following of 51,000 followers on TikTok, that I share the truth. I've been sharing the truth. I've been speaking out. It's gotten me in a little bit of trouble. I'm in the middle of a divorce right now because of that, because I'm too loud. I have an 11-year-old in Stevenson in 7th grade. I have an 8-year-old in Graham, and they both have struggled this past year. They've struggled with depression from not being able to see their friends' faces. They've struggled from not being able to be in school with their friends. There's no reason. I don't co-parent with the government. I am not a parent that asks permission to do whatever I have to do for my kids. I will fight for them until the end. And that's plain and simple. This is not okay. These mandates are not okay. Look at the Spanish flu, for example. You want to know how people died? They died from the mask. They died from the vaccines. They died from the very things that you are putting into place. And you can look at science. California alone said that the mask won't help against smoke. Oh, wow. How big is the virus? It is a micro virus. Why didn't we do this for the flu? I remember going to school, never wearing a mask. People were coughing all over each other. People were not washing their hands, and we were just fine. Look at us. We're all here. We're all living, breathing creatures, okay? There's no reason for this mask mandate, and I'm sick and tired of watching my kids walk around like a zombie and having to be okay with it because my spouse won't fight. I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna be that mom, and I'm gonna be loud. And I will be at every board meeting. I will be at the Wayne County meeting. I will be at every area fighting for my kids, not just mine, but those that are abused, and look at teachers' faces. I was a lunchroom attendant. I'm no longer doing it because I'm no longer complying with these orders. I'm no longer gonna sit here and say I'm okay with all of this. This is unacceptable, and you guys need to stop it. You need to stand up to Wayne County. You need to stand up to these health departments. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of all of it. I will not comply anymore. And if I have to take my kids out of school, and I have to tell every single parent to remove their kids out of school, I will do that. And also, how much money did you get from the $1.4 billion that is on the OSED website, according to FOIA, because you have to share information? How much money are you getting in your paycheck? I would like to know that, to put these mandates into place. Because this is wrong, and you know it's wrong, but yet you continue to do it. You know the science. You know. Because if it's rising, do you really think the masks are working? Do you really think this is good on the mental health of kids? I can't tell you how many parents, and I'm fighting for them too. I can't tell you how many parents have come to me and said that their child had to seek therapy. Therapy. because of the mask mandates.
Jennifer, I'm sorry to tell you your 3 minutes is up.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for all those who filled out sheets to speak tonight.
Can I say one thing? This is an emergency for my grandchildren.
Yeah, your name, sir?
Please, can I address you? My name's Charles. I did not know I had to fill a form out.
Oh.
This is very important. I need to get to it now.
Sure, just give me your name and go up to the podium.
My name is Charles.
Last name, sir?
Charles Potter.
You have 3 minutes, Mr. Potter.
Hi, I'm Charles Potter. I live in Westland 58 years. I have 14 grandbabies in the Westland. First week of school, I'm not gonna tell you what school, I can talk to you personally. My grandson's in second grade, I have another one started kindergarten. Within the first week, the rash that my second grader has is back on his nose. So what we did, we went ahead and got a little oxygen tester that you put on your finger. I've been going to this school, including the grandparents, including my daughter, and we're actually recessed, before they go out to recess from wearing the mask all day long, their oxygen's completely low. Now, my one grandson got all dizzy, kindergarten. We didn't find out about this until he got home. He went to his teacher, nothing was done. Now, the problem I have is, as the lady mentioned about the money, from the money that Westland got, you think that they would actually invest in these? If you want to push these on our grandkids, which we don't want, why don't you spend the money and push them on an N95 mask? No one's offered that. These stop 13 to 18% of the virus, if it does that, to Johns Hopkins University. So my question is, how much further, and then it was last Thursday, because we checked the kids, and my cousin is in also, his kid's in the same school. We test their oxygen level. We brought oxygen to the school so the kids can get extra oxygen in their lungs before they went out into the hot temperature. What can you do for us? Why ain't we got monitors every class to check them kids every 15 minutes? My kids are sick. My grandkids are sick. And nobody in this room, and I'm going towards you, Mr. Cox, nobody in this room wants one of our kids to fall down from less oxygen. It has to stop now. You need to get involved with the Wayne County Health Department. We're going to have a little protest this morning at Venoy and Van Born. And it was called off through the, I don't know what the program we're on. It was called off. I went there anyways. 5 Washtenaw County cops were surrounding the building in their vehicles. Don't scare us, because this is a horrible threat to my grandchildren, to everybody's kids in this room. We will continue. That's where my name's Charles Potter. You're going to find out where my grandkids go to. Please do not stop us, and hopefully these parents will start doing it too with the finger monitor. We check our kids at recess, and we have went into the school in the middle of the day to bring them to the office to check it again. And every time their oxygen level was low. And we're supplying oxygen to them. So, we can spend our money right, or we can be just a laugh. This is all this is. You guys' masks are worthless. So please address that before you damage one of our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Potter. Ma'am, if you we certainly want to hear what you have to say. If you give us your name.
My name is Joan Porter, and I've been in Wayne Westland about 33 years. I went to the elementary, the middle school, and the high school, and I love all of the, maybe not all of them, but most of the instructors were great. I went to the Votech Center because I wanted to become a nurse, and I'm still pursuing my career in becoming a nurse. I work in the hospital. I work 8 to 12-hour shifts with the mask on, and let me tell you, if I'm going between each patient, let's say, because we're short-staffed because everybody's leaving, they don't want the vaccination. That's their choice, just like the mask is your choice. I should be able to have my own choice as well. And it's not fair to me to go between 10, 15, 20 patients taking their vitals, taking their, I have to take their input and output. I have to make sure that they're safe in their bed, their call lights in reach. I have to do all of that between all of these patients and still wear a mask, and I'm sweating, and I can barely breathe. I get headaches, and I leave work crying because I can't put my mask down because I'm being forced to keep it on when I know what's wrong. I have 3 children. 2 of them are over here. One is in 2nd grade, one is in 3rd grade, and one is a high school sophomore. And they all go to school. They all have to wear a mask. And feel like, how are we supposed to prove to our children how we feel strongly about being against this if we're just sending them to school wearing a mask when it's not helping anything anyway? We can still transfer the virus with or without the vaccination. I can tell you I'm vaccinated because I've been bullied into it, or I will lose my job. How can I support 3 kids with no job? There's no way. And then, you know, I have a twin and a sister here. My husband's here. I don't want to share everybody's, you know, history, but I don't think it's fair that we should have to share whether we're vaccinated or not. Yeah, I alone work in the health field. If I have a doctor or a nurse taking care of me, I don't care if you're vaccinated or not. Just take care of me and send me home. I don't care about anything else. And I know my thoughts are a little jumbled, but I'm sorry. It's just been, I've been working on this. So I've been working in healthcare since 2008. Like I said, I went to the VOTEC Center and had health occupations class for nursing assistant, medical billing, registered nurse, EMT, etc. Since I graduated and became a nursing assistant, I moved on to working in home health care, private care duty while attending college and pursuing my nursing career. And like, I don't know which, over here, she was talking about testing the mask. We are fitted for N95s, which we do have to wear in the room, in an isolation room for COVID. But again, we're not wearing them out here. Look at this room. Half of us aren't wearing a mask, half of us are. And we're all getting along just fine. Why can't we do that in the schools? My children having to wear masks, those younger children, they're trying to learn facial expressions, and they cannot with a mask over your face. They can't even tell if you're smiling, if you're crying, they can't tell anything. And that's unfair to them. I got a job in the nursing field solely to help care for the sick people and help them get back to normal living. These past few years have been an emotional roller coaster for all of us. I worked at one of the major hospitals in Dearborn and was proud to work there until things were changing, not just from COVID, but they are changing little by little. I worked as a float in the hospital for 6 years. That means I worked more than one floor, ICU, mother, baby, CCU. I worked, my last floor was surgical urology. I worked there for about a year. And many other staff members in all departments all over the hospital I worked with. We had a meeting about our first COVID patient when we were all a little hesitant, scared, curious, unsure. We were angry, of course. We didn't know what to expect. We were told only to enter the rooms when absolutely necessary and wear proper PPE, which at that time we were told a fitted N95 mask, goggles, a paper or plastic gown. When you see these people with a hazmat suit on TV, that's not anything that we have. We barely had anything for each patient. And
Mrs. Porter, I'm sorry to tell you your time is up.
well, I appreciate your time. I just wanted people to know that we are all from Wayne Westland, and I think if you're going to stand up for us then, 30 years ago, why not for now? I'm standing up for my kids, and you should too, so we can keep them with this great community.
Thank you, everyone. Next item on our agenda this evening is the review and recommendations of the members of the Board of Education. Mr. Buckaloo.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. It's not our role to respond to citizen comments, and I won't do that, but I will say this. In the month of August, my phone blew up with people who wanted a mask mandate. Once we got, please,
Hey,
it's my turn.
everyone, you've had your time to talk. Let's be respectful. We're all neighbors, okay? We're not,
Thank you. In the month of August, September, it's blown up with people who are opposed to the mask mandate. My comment was going to be that in all of that time, nobody, with one possible exception, nobody has been anything but most courteous in addressing this issue. Clearly, we're divided on it. But we are a community, and we will work through this. Nobody enjoys wearing a mask. There are some of us who believe that the mask works and that it's useful. There are some of us who believe the opposite. So I share that with you. I'm taking my mask off to go through my comments. It's bad enough to listen to me with the mask off. You wouldn't really enjoy it at all with the mask on. So I'd like to thank Principal Tyler for bringing the students over for Edison in leading us in the pledge. As President Cox said, it's been a long time since we've had students lead us in the pledge, and that's been a tradition that's gone on for years and years in this school district, and it's one that is kind of special. I think I'm pleased that we're able to do it. Special congratulations to Dr. Dignan on achieving your educational doctorate. I hope that you folks understand what it takes to earn a doctorate degree. You have to take a certain number of courses, perhaps 2 years' worth of classes. Then you have to do research. Then you have to analyze that research. Then you have to go ahead and write your presentation, your dissertation, and defend it. It could take hours and hours. It could take years to achieve what he did. And all the time that he was working for that doctorate, he was also running the school district at a time when we've had just a boatload of issues, starting with COVID, dealing with a bond issue, and the difficulty of getting supplies and workmen to do the job. My hat is off to you, sir. You have just done a tremendous job and stayed positive throughout it all. I thank you very much for that. We recognized the superintendent did, Lakina Horn, earlier. She's the director of the Westland Foundation, the first hired director that we've ever had. The foundation has been in operation for about 40 years, and the last few years it's kind of fallen on the side. What is the Wayne Westland Foundation? Well, this particular organization is funded, or at least up till now has been funded exclusively by teacher donations. And those donations have created a pot of change that teachers can apply to for grants for use in their classrooms. And not just teachers, but bus drivers or anyone else who's working in the district. Ms. Horn has the enthusiasm to take us to the next level. She's looking for grants, she's looking for partnerships in the community, and again, I am just so excited that Ms. Horn is now a part of the Wayne Westland Foundation. I'd like to congratulate our new administrators, Mr. Beebe, Ms. Nathan, Ms. Samara, and my good friend and former colleague, Ms. Rogers, who I've known for many, many years. Congratulations to each of you in your new role, and I know that you're going to do our district really well. I think it's fitting that the banquet facility at Voc-Tech be named in honor of Dr. Barassi. Again, President Cox talked about the difficulties that we've had in the last few years. When Proposition A was passed, we lost the equivalent of 6 mills of funding. Over the years, Superintendent Barassi was able to recover 4 of those 6 mills. We never got back to where we were before Proposition A, but he steered us through a time when there were serious financial difficulties. Be honest with you, in my 10 years on the board, in most of my 40 years as a teacher in the district, we've never been as financially well as we are at this point. Perhaps we can buy an upgraded mask if that's the decision of the administration. We recognize some people. Ms. Hines, Master Board Member, that is an accomplishment, and I celebrate that. And without taking anything away from Ms. Hines, the more important award that MASB gave us tonight was the Honor Board. It means that all 7 of us have achieved a certain level of certification, training, experience in attending workshops, and it speaks highly of each of the members here that they're willing to take their own personal time to do the training that will help them to be better board members. So congratulations to all of us on that. And one more thing on MASB too, and I should have said this last month, and I apologize to Ms. May for that. But recently, over the summer, Ms. May has been appointed to the Government Relations Committee for MASB. MASB is our professional organization, and it does a lot of things for us, training, legal services, but it also runs a lobbying service. And Ms. May is a part of an organization, of a committee made up of about 15 individuals representing 15 school districts. There are over 500 school districts in the state of Michigan. And we have a voice on that committee of 15 to determine the direction that MASB will take when it lobbies our state legislators. And so I thank you, Ms. May, for doing a very important job for our school district. What have I forgotten on my notes here? Not a thing. Thank you very much, President Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Buckley. Mr. Albrecht?
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Well, let me start off with a special congratulations to Mr. Bucklow and Ms. Hines. I'm retired and I still can't find the time to take all the classes that you guys have. But I can imagine, and I want to thank you for that. It's a good leadership role for me as a new member of the Board of Education, and I'll try to follow your footsteps. I want to thank Adam, Bella, Carly, Brian, Samaya, and Charles for being here. You know, I've been in the district for almost 30 years in one role or another, and not having the children here in that role, which is why we're here, has really been missed. So it was nice to see the children back tonight. Congrats, Dr. Dignan. I think you'd probably like to do your dissertation a little earlier than July, but this other doggone thing's been in the way. But I know you're pretty proud of that achievement. We are, and we're glad that you have made it. I like the idea that we've named the banquet facility after Dr. Gregory Barresi. I think that's fitting. Chanda, I want to thank you and all the people in your wing, in particular Tony and the maintenance group, for all you're doing with this bond issue. It's great. You've just done tremendous work. Special congratulations to all of our new placements tonight. Ms. Rogers and I's paths have crossed a couple times, but the best part of the other three is we're getting people from somewhere else instead of them getting our people. And so welcome aboard. A special welcome to all our children that they're back, and I hope we find a way to make certain that they have an educational experience that we're all charged with. With that being said, I am prepared to be recalled or replaced. Now, I'm about to say something that you'll understand why. Last month, I made a comment with one parent that spoke at our meeting. She shared similar beliefs and views that most of you do. And my comment was that people will make choices. The sad part about a mandate that comes down to us is now they're forced. You're forced to make a choice. Whereas if we were able to say that you can make a choice as a family, that'd be altogether different, because now you're making a choice. But these health departments have legal authority, and I'm not going to cite the law because I don't know that I know it well enough. But that being said, I'm with you. It's not anyone's choice but parents' choice. And you may choose not to have your children go to school, and you may choose to have your children go to school. The other people would be faced with the same scenario. What do? Do we send our children to school with a mask optional, or don't we? And I understand that. I heard every single word you said, and I support you. This is where we're at, though. And I may get replaced up here, but that's the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albrecht. Ms. May?
Thank you, Mr. Cox. I'd just like to start by saying good evening, welcoming back our students and our staff. Next, I'd like to thank Bella, Carly, Charles, Brian, Samaya, Adam, and Mr. Tyler for leading us in the pledge this evening. They did an awesome job. I'd also like to thank our parents this evening who took the time to attend the board meeting and to share their concerns and their thoughts. Thank you for that. Thank you for advocating for your children. I'd also like to offer congratulations to all of our new hires, our administrators, our teachers, and support staff. Thank you for joining our Wayne Westland team. I would like to request or ask that we bring back up the conversation around live streaming our board meetings. Many of families are still requesting that. We talked about it at one point when we were on Zoom, and then we talked about if we would be able to continue to offer Zoom as an option. And so I have heard from some parents who are asking if we can do that. So I don't know if that's something that we can or cannot do, but I did say that I would bring it up this evening and ask that we look into it and potentially provide an answer for parents by the next board meeting if possible. The other piece that I'd like to just kind of bring to the forefront for us to have some conversation around, and I've expressed this concern with Dr. Dignan, with Dr. Dignan, that's important to acknowledge, is just having an opportunity to just share with our community how we're supporting our students educationally and emotionally when they are quarantined. I know that is a concern for some parents. And then, as always, Mr. Buckaloo always kind of steals my thunder. So I was going to share that I applied and was appointed to be a member of the Government Relations Committee with MASB. And just sharing that I feel like I have some pretty big shoes to follow because that was a committee that Mr. Buckaloo represented Wayne Westland Schools on. And so I wanted to say thank you to him for paving the way. And just saying that pretty much what he already said, so I won't repeat that, just what that committee is and the role of that committee, and that I am humbled and honored to have the opportunity to represent Wayne Westland. So thank you.
And we're honored to have you representing us in spite of the fact that you've just teased Mr. Buckaloo about having big feet. Ms. Hines?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Nathan, Mr. Bebe, Ms. Rogers, and Ms. Samara. You guys are going to do awesome in this district. I'm so glad to see people come home. We need you to guys come back. That's the reason why I came back to the school district. I was, a student of Wayne Westland. My child is a student of Wayne Westland. And as a parent, I totally get what you guys are saying. Like, my son lost pretty much 95% of his high school year due to COVID. He's a senior now, but I understand the depression, the anxiety. A lot of his friends are going through the same thing. But as a board member, I am pretty torn because our job is to keep everybody safe. So God forbid if somebody's kid, I don't want that on my soul, So I definitely understand, like, I've got my vaccinations, but it's kind of hard for me to come back and wear the mask as well. But like, our job is to make sure that our teachers feel safe because we're losing a lot of staff. Life is important. I totally get with these kids being quarantined. I had a friend recently, the kids were playing the sport. One of the kids was positive. The kids had to quarantine. They tested negative, but then the mom ended up getting it. So it's really tricky. It's very tricky. So we want to make sure our staff feels comfortable to come to work as well because it affects everybody. And like I said, I do not want to lose a student regardless. It's a very difficult thing as a board member because if something happens, why didn't you protect my kid? I could not look a parent in the face and say, that's a very difficult decision for us because I care and I have a child as well. But I'm excited. We are on the right path. We have amazing administrators. Mr. Buckaloo, I definitely appreciate you. You've been helping me out my whole year, like all my years being a board member. I really look up to you. I admire you. Congratulations for getting your award, Ms. Mack. Congratulate you as well as being a new board member. And I'm excited. I'm ready to go to some football games. I thank God that our kids are back to school 5 days a week because it's hard. I'm a single mom. I got a couple of jobs, and not being able to be there for my child while they're suffering through school, it makes you feel kind of way when, like you said, the kids lose a lot not going to school. So I'm really glad that Dr. Dignan's been working to make sure they're 5 days a week. So I know you guys been trying to get that together, but we have it now. So we just got to, tighten up. Everybody work together. We have to respect everybody's opinion. I totally agree and respect how you guys feel because I'm torn as a parent myself, So, I'm always an open ear. I always listen. I like to kind of, weigh and see what's the best option. But safety has to come first for our staff and our students. Because like I said, as a board member and a parent, I would not like to have something happen to somebody's kid. And they look at me like you didn't protect my kid. I just would not want that on my soul. So thank you for letting me, get that out. Thank you guys for coming in. It's really good to hear what people have to say. It's most important. It's our constitutional right to, voice your thoughts. So thank you for coming in. I definitely would like to see if we can get those streamed. We have more people attend our board meetings when we had the live streaming, than in person and we got more people, information, from other people that weren't able to make it. So, but I have a great team. I love you guys. I'm glad that we're working together. We're going to do amazing things for our children. Dr. Barrissey was an amazing superintendent. I'm glad that we're going to be having a room for him. And I cannot wait to work with the Career Ready Advisors. I'm on the committee, and I'm really excited about the foundation because I have some great ideas I was talking to Dr. Dignan about really bringing some more money to the district, getting some more companies to, help our kids. We need mentors. We need donations. We need, we need a lot of people I really want to get is mentors because it's so important for our kids to have somebody to look up to, even when it comes to career readiness. And everybody's going to college, but if we can get them into a skilled trade, maybe some type of, community college to kind of get them back going, especially after COVID, So I applaud, like, anybody that's in the community that went to Wayne Westland, please come reach out to us to be mentors and help our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. Mr. Neal.
Thank you, Mr. President. And hopefully in my comments, I don't lose track of all the things I'd like to say. But I'm going to start off by thanking the parents and family and the kids that came here tonight to express your ideas on whether we should be masked, unmasked, quarantined, or not quarantined, and tell you that I support you 100% with no qualms about saying that or supporting that in any way, shape, or form. I am happy that when I listened to your comments, you didn't direct any animus towards our superintendent. And the reason is, he is doing what he's always done. Looked at all the guidance that's out there for him from all the agencies that provide the guidance for the school system, working with his employee groups, and putting together the best program that he can. But the way this system works is, he is our only employee. He's in charge of everybody else, right? And so without any specific guidance from the board, and it really hasn't been, we haven't sat here and considered this at any length. We haven't looked at the actual science. We sat back and sucked in the words that came from the county and considered that to be sort of like what we're supposed to do. And we haven't really, other than our personal feelings, we haven't sat down to actually look at details and study the reality of the whole thing. I'll use the word science, a very misused word these days. Many people are saying, follow the science, we have to wear masks. Well, the science actually says the opposite. There's 14 mask studies that were conducted before COVID. None of them said that masks benefited you. One said slightly. But those are actual scientific tests without political intervention, with no goal in mind at the end. They were just comparing masks and their use in the workplace and other locations, hospitals, so on and so forth. So maybe there really isn't the science there, but people say, well, don't you read that in the paper? Don't you see that? It's there. They keep saying it. Yeah, they do. They write lots of articles about it. But that doesn't mean that it's science. That's people repeating the same words over and over. I looked at the county site today. I looked at they got a PowerPoint presentation where they present everything that they want all of us to know. And what you'll notice when you look at their stats is they're all modeled. And if you know what modeling means, it means they're not using real information. They're speculating. It's like Hurricane Katrina is here, and they got about 15 models to tell you where it's going to be 3 days from now, and you ever look at those maps, the squiggles are all over the place. Everyone's just guessing where the hurricane is going to end up based on the model. And the model that they show you shows that it's going to spike and all these people are going to be sick and so many people dying. And then eventually 6 months from now, it might come back to where it is today, where we're still wearing masks and we're still staying away from each other. The problem I have with this is no one looks beyond today. No one's talking about the real tomorrow. When does this come to an end?
Exactly.
Yeah, there is no end based on what we've been presented up till now, because COVID's not going away. I saw on a Michigan site today that there were, let me get this number, it actually shocked me when I read it, because I knew there's lots of variants to this. In Michigan, they've identified 14,922 variants of concern for COVID.
That's true.
Now, they only have some big names that they throw out, the ones that probably are showing up more often that are causing more problem. I'm not saying they're not there. The Delta variant being the one most talked about and probably most in play. But my point here is that the virus is constantly evolving, but would never go away, just like the flu never goes away. The flu, and one of you mentioned it already, but the flu kills, unfortunately, I can say this word out loud, but it kills more of our children than COVID ever thought of.
That's right.
COVID does not affect our children, and I know you all saw the picture of the U of M game with 100,000 people with no masks sitting next to each other 3 inches away. They're not all, I went through Ann Arbor the other day and I didn't see any dead bodies in the street. It's just not happening. Now that's a little too light. I shouldn't treat it that lightly. But what I'm saying here is, that was okay, but our kids have to sit with masks. And again, I don't blame Dr. Dignan and his staff. They're doing, up till now, what has been provided to them by the sources they normally rely on to give them good information to protect our children. Now, all of us, no matter what our opinion is, are still trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to protect the kids. We just have differing ideas about how that should be done. The problem I have is I think that the idea of masking and quarantining so many kids is so detrimental to not just our children, but our whole society, that I think we're killing ourselves in the name of safety. And it bothers me. And I hear people say, we want to keep them safe. Well, safe from what? Safe from what? A disease that if they got it, they're going to survive?
Right.
You know, that's not what I want to keep my children safe from. I want to keep them safe. We had 1,000 kids die in Michigan over the last year from other causes. Kids, school-age children. But we're not talking about any of those things. And so it's a mystery to me. It really is. And it was Katie Decker talked about fit testing. You know, I teach health and safety. 29 CFR 1910-134 is a respiratory protection standard. And it's the one that says that if your employer says that you have to wear a mask, you must be, first of all, you have to have a physical to see that you're capable of wearing a mask. And then annually, you have to be fit tested. Now, we can all look around even at the masks in the room. Some are homemade, some are cheapies that, you know, made in China, some are really good ones. It's all over the map and what we're putting on our face. Some people wear it correctly, most people don't. And what it means is that a mask is just a symbol. It's not a tool to protect us. It's a symbol. I'm wearing a mask because I believe it will protect me and others. It doesn't mean that it really will, but it's a symbol. But it's a symbol that's being forced upon us. Yeah. And that's what I don't like, because I don't see where the government should be telling us these things. As you've already identified, you're the parents, you're the grandparents, you're the loved ones. You're the ones that should be saying what you want for your children and deciding for yourself. I'm lucky I have grandchildren in Arizona. No masks, they're all alive, having a great time. Things are wonderful. I've got more grandchildren out here in Brooklyn, Michigan. They're all healthy. They don't have to wear masks in the school. They do have to wear masks in the bus, I'll be fair about that, but because there's another order out there that's, you know, federal order or something that says if you're on mass transportation, you have to wear some kind of a mask. But I see them, they all don't really wear it. They get on the bus with the mask and they take it off. The bus driver's driving with the mask on their chin. My point here is that these are symbols designed to make us all feel like somebody's doing something on our behalf. But in reality, we're all suffering for it. Yes. So, because we have not given any specific direction to Dr. Dignan or the staff, I think it's unfair for us to sit back and say, well, it's mandatory. I went and looked at the site. I saw the word said recommendation. That's not mandatory. I see clearly that it's not a mandate. It's highly recommended in a couple areas, they say. And that doesn't mean we can't then adopt that because we believe, oh, yeah, it's highly recommended, we should do that. But we've never sat down to talk about it. So my suggestion is that we actually have a study session where we really review science. And then when we're all done, hopefully it comes out the way I like, but it might not. But when we're all done, at least it will be some consideration of what is out there to be seen and judged. And then when the board says, Dr. Dignan, this is what we want for our district, then we'll have something to go from. But if it turns out the board doesn't vote that way, well, then it doesn't. I'll still continue to support what you're talking about, but I think we haven't done our job yet. That's it.
Put it up for vote now.
Go ahead, Dr. Weaver, you get to follow that.
I remember,
We can't hear that well.
sorry, I get to show off my new teeth. I was hoping for the opportunity. I remember several months ago when I was watching Channel 7, and each night I was watching the numbers fall for COVID-19. And it finally one day got to 0 or almost 0. There it is.